Here we are on the Isle of Man. We have Douglas Wilson-Spratt, and we have the WSM number 208. We're going to talk a little bit here this evening about this absolutely beautiful automobile, but also wanted to talk about sprites.
Yes.
I understand that you had a Sprite before there were officially Sprites.
Yes. John Sprins and I and one other had new Sprites a month before they were announced.
What did you do after they were announced?
Well, we started competing in events in England to start with as much as we could. And we were modestly successful. We had our ups and downs, as one does with own cars and rally. But in general, of course, it was standard tuning then, and we only had what the car had in it to start.
The lines on it are gorgeous. How did you do the lines?
Well, I suppose it started, I had a number of cars with pop eyes on them, the TR2, and before that I had a Media Fiat, and they all got headlights which protruded on the bonnet line, and I got so fed up by the time I got to the Mark I Sprite that I decided to design a body which didn't have that problem and was cleaner generally, and that's how it came about.
So we can see these lights are anything but pop-up lights.
Exactly, yes.
They're beautifully streamlined into the body and a beautiful shape. Did you do any wind tunnel testing, or was
No, we did that after we built the first one. We did some tufting on one side of the car to see if we got it generally right with cotton and little bits of sticky tape, put it on, and it gave a reasonable result. It wasn't perfect because you get turbulence around the wheels and things, but otherwise it was reasonable. Yes, I originally made a model of it for the panel beaters to go with my drawings that I'd done of the car, which were mostly three-dimensional drawings of all angles of it, rather because we couldn't justify the expense. Originally I was only building one for myself.
Oh, this wasn't a production car?
No, not at all. And every one was made to special order. People suddenly started to like them, and well, we built a number to order.
Well, this is the last of the WSMs, the 208. There's a story going around that this car sort of appeared out of a garage somewhere.
Well, in fact, when we only ever built 3 fiberglass body cars, or 3 body shells. 2 were put on cars, and the third one was used as a spare in case we had an accident. And unfortunately,
so you had the molds then of this?
yes, and they survived quite by accident, because when I left my home in England, come to live in the Isle of Man, I cleared the whole place except for a few molds for the third car, you might say, which we never planned to build. The thing sat up in my workshop for about 20 years, just lying there. And eventually we decided that we'd turn it into a WSM, and with various methods and means which one uses in those things, we built it up with bits that were missing, and we have a complete body.
And it's absolutely gorgeous. Now, this one was done on an older
yes,
frame?
That's right. Oh, it was done on one of the right period.
Okay, so this is actually a period correct
Yes,
reconstruction of a WSM.
that's right. Well, in fact, we naturally set out to do that because it was going to be raced originally, hopefully by my grandson, but he retired from his business here and went off to live in New Zealand, so that didn't come about.
So you had to turn it over to this crazy fellow over here
Right.
who's behind the camera at the moment.
That's right.
And let him race it, huh?
That's right, yes. Oh, yes. He's been all over the place with it. Most impressive.
And you can just put your hand up here and you get the feel for, it stands at what, probably close to 4 feet high?
Yes, we could actually, because I used the original one for rally, I made it slightly taller to allow for having pressure on things. But,
I see that you have right here the very antiquated air conditioner.
yes, yes. Also, you've got to be able to get at the interior on this marble, the early ones. They didn't have an outside button.
Oh!
You put your hand inside, get hold of the did that. That's right. There we are.
So, no exterior handle
No.
back here.
No.
Help the aerodynamics.
The last 2 or 3 we built had them, but not the early ones.
So this was more of a rally car than a track car when you were riding it.
Well, the prototype was, I did everything with it. I rallied it, I raced it a lot, because I wanted to prove to my own satisfaction that it was perfectly satisfactory to all purposes.
We're going to do a walk around of the WSM, noticing the aerodynamic front area, slant back windshield, flared lights, front disc brakes. The rear end of the WSM, the part seen by most competitors, is modified, cut off into a semi-cam rear end, but with a boot lid for carrying the spare and a beautiful line that carries up through the side of the car. Full rear window, giving plenty of visibility, and showing our fuel cap over on the side for rapid refilling during long distance racing. The cockpit inside is meant entirely for one thing: for winning races. Instrumentation is complete. The steering wheel is small, well padded, and placed near the driver. Long throw shift and a very, very deep seat for driver comfort and lateral stability. All things that are needed to win. Notice the roll cage on the far side that mounts and comes all the way up into the roof.
With my whistles, I always use this colour, which I call Chiron blue, after Louis Chiron.
Louis Chiron, the French racing guy.
That's right. I always had an admiration for him.
Thank you, Douglas, for this great interview. My last meeting with Douglas was at a racetrack in front of his very favorite automobiles. Seen here racing at Silverstone and still winning.